Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm sitting here with Theo and Alexa from NEWLIFE Music, and we want to tell you some stories behind Above the Noise. So Above the Noise is all about finding God's voice and God's grace just above whatever is going on. And I think to talk about the project, the perfect song that kind of sums up the themes of the album is just the chorus of Still. Mm-hmm. And I think just those themes of believing just the truths about God, about His grace, His love, His salvation, is just a great place to start when we talk about this project.
Yeah, I still remember when you brought that song to me. It was like, hey, working on this song, I want you to hear it, I want your input on it. It was about, a few weeks after my dad had passed, back in May of 2019. He passed away, and I just remember, that was just a crazy time for me. So many things have just been turned upside down in my life. And I didn't really have this time where I was angry at God or where I was like, questioning, like, oh God, do you love me? That didn't happen as much as, what are you doing? What is your will? And quite frankly, right now I'm not sure if I'm okay with it. Like, I don't love God any less, but I'm not sure that I love what's happening right now. I'm not sure that I love His will for my life right now. Then I remember you came to me with this song, and you played it and you sang it, and right away it hit for me. It just hit, because in those darkest times, in those moments where you're not sure of what's next, you're not sure of why things are the way they are, that song just reminded me that even when you're not sure of this, of that, of this, of that, you can be sure that God is still God. He still loves you. His grace is still there. His favor is still there, even when you don't feel it.
But yeah, I remember writing the song. I was on an airplane it was like a week after your dad had passed, and I was on an airplane to Chicago to see my family because my adopted grandfather had just passed away. At his service, they played the song Goodness of God from Bethel Music. So I wrote this still on the plane on the way to the funeral. And then I heard that song and I was like, just feeling really unsure about Still. And I was like, this seems so basic. Like, we know God is God. We know God is real. But to be reminded in listening to that song that it's important to talk about the faithfulness of God.
Yeah.
So another song we wrote, which is my favorite one, on the EP is A Child of God. And that one was a really good surprise because it came after, for like the third time we thought we were done writing the album. And it was a few days after, and I got a text from Pastor Mike. He said, hey, do you have a song on identity? And I was like, and then I was like, we need to talk about that. That's so important. We need to talk about who we are, like who we are as a church, who we are as people, who we are as children of God. Because being a child of God doesn't mean anything if we don't know who God is. And then when I got home from Thanksgiving, we sat down because we started having meetings about opening a store and talking about like merch and stuff like that.
Like, we really just wanted to have something for people to take home with them, just to remember, like, whether it's like scripture, whether it's like the truths that they learn at church, or like from the songs that we later release. And I had no idea that you had written that song or that we even needed another one. And I came up with a shirt idea, and it was just like a red long sleeve shirt, and it said Child of God on it.
Okay, so like my room looked like a conspiracy theory. I had all these like 30 songs taped up on the wall, and we just kept going through with like markers, and it was just red. Like everything was getting crossed out, sliced up, words changed, whatever. And when I was home for Thanksgiving and I was working on Child of God, the only thing in my head was just like this just block of it was just red, like this really deep red. And I felt like God was reminding me, like, I'm marking this up. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm changing this. This is, like, my will. I'm editing this with you. Like, if this isn't a frustration, like, that these songs had to continue to be chopped up and changed and whatever. Like, this is surrender. Yeah. This is what I want. This is, like, you guys are in line with my will in this. And so just that color red was just in my head. the whole time I was writing this song, and when I got home and I saw the shirt, it was like, okay, I'm not crazy. Like, God is in this.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted us to add these things, and he wanted us to change these things and kind of be flexible and be surrendered. And I think the most important thing that people could take away from this project is that when you take ownership of your faith, that I am yours, you are mine, right? That line from Child of God. But when we take ownership of our faith, he changes us when we just fully surrender our identities to him.
That's good.